The thrill of being outraged. Some Christians apparently managed to get outraged over this tableau that was formed by some drag queens during the opening ceremony of the Olympics. This was offensive, apparently. It was apparently mocking Christianity. Well, half the world seems on the verge of outrage half of the time these days. It takes just a tiny trigger. I'm sure the people doing this knew perfectly well that outrage would follow from some corners of the world. Maybe they even did it to deliberately provoke outrage. And the people they expected to fall into the trap fell into the trap. Just calm down, people. I wonder, did people get similarly outraged by this image? Well, maybe they did. It wouldn't altogether surprise me. On the other hand, perhaps it was the fact that this particular tableau was formed by drag queens. Shock horror. On the other hand, how wonderfully Parisian. It seems to me that outrage is the default setting for large sections of society these days, and also that it's a substitute for action. As long as we feel suitably outraged by something that we consider to be a moral affront, we're able to simultaneously feel good about ourselves. I'm not just talking about outrage over this kind of thing, this tableau. I'm also talking about outrage over things which actually are, or should be, an affront to our sense of morality and justice. Not just these trivial things. Things that actually matter, or should. For example, the fact that there are over 100 million displaced people in the world, displaced either within or from their home country. It's great that the Olympics this year includes 36 athletes who are representing these displaced people. We should be outraged by this tragedy, not by some drag queen tableau. On the other hand, apparently, migrants and homeless people have been shipped out of Paris for the duration of the Olympics. So there's that. Now, many of these people may be glad of a roof over their heads, if only for a short time. I'm sure it has nothing to do with hiding the problem. Oh, that, Alanis Morissette, was irony. But I'm not bragging because I'm outraged by something profoundly more tragic than a bunch of drag queens imitating the Last Supper. My outrage does not make me a morally superior human being, although momentarily I'm able to feel that it does. No, my outrage is also a substitute for action. It's just so easy to feel outrage while sitting comfortably back watching the Olympics from home. Good for me. I'm outraged, and what's more, I'm outraged about the right thing. But what do I actually do about it? Bugger all. I do ask myself, what can I do? I do understand the sense of helplessness that people feel in the face of great tragedies. I can come up with many excuses for not doing anything. Maybe that's also why we tend to focus on the more trivial issues. These other things are just too big for us to comprehend, too big for us to deal with. We don't know where to start. One substitute for direct action is, of course, to give money. Others will do the hands-on work, the work on the ground. I will provide financial support. But there are many causes to choose from. I don't have unlimited funds. Some tough decisions have to be made. Still, it's something more than just outrage, putting my money where my mouth is, so to speak. There's at least one other thing we can do. In our society, we've chosen a system of government which means that we elect people to make the big decisions, to do the big stuff for us. And though some people may despise it or claim to do so until they find themselves beneficiaries of the system, we do this via government, elected governments in those countries which approximate democracy. We need some kind of representative system to handle the enormous complexities of our society and of the place of our nation in the world, its role in the world. It's far, far, far from being a perfect system. You really can't please all of the people all of the time, and sometimes it feels as though you can't please any of the people any of the time. But one thing you can do, one thing I can do is to vote for people and or parties that we think are going to address these issues, or at the very least will be sensitive to these issues, will seek to prioritise these issues. I would vote for a party that believed in addressing such issues as poverty, inequality, homelessness, refugees, international conflict, and so on, rather than a party which prioritises such issues as whether or not men should sometimes wear what are conventionally regarded as a woman's attire, or whether the Ten Commandments should be displayed in classrooms, and so on. Oops, did I betray my political bias? This, again, hardly places any great demands upon me, nor does it elevate me to great moral heights. Just as when I give money to an organisation, I'm basically paying someone else to do all the hard work, so too when I elect a government, I'm asking other people to fix things that I can't fix. It's not much. In fact, it's the least I can do. And as with the rest of you, I imagine, the least is probably all you're going to get from me.